Medicare Advantage brings about a whole different set of complexities because patients can move from traditional Medicare into a Medicare Advantage plan while they're on your service, and you will only know that if the patient tells you, which is rare, or if you're checking eligibility every month. And that can move either way. They can go from traditional Medicare to a plan, they can go from one plan to another, or they can go from a plan to Medicare. So there are rules about billing regarding payer changes, and when a patient moves either from Medicare to a plan or the other way, you have to discharge and readmit your patient so that you have an admission for Medicare. Medicare doesn't recognize care provided that isn't billed to Medicare, so they look at it like a new patient. And that's that's consents, that's a physician face-to-face. There's a whole list of clinical guidelines that have to be met on admission. So when you're faced with checking eligibility at the first of every month, making a move to whatever that payer source is, determining if you can provide care, are you in network, do you have to be in network to provide that care, do you need an authorization? And then you have a 5-day calendar window to submit your NOA, whether it's to Medicare or most Advantage plans require an NOA as well. So that first 5 days of the month is critical when it comes to determining payer, determining if you can continue to care based on what change the patient made, and then getting all of those pieces that are required to get paid. You have to get the eligibility, get the authorization, readmit the patient, get new consents. I mean, there's just so many pieces. And maybe readmit is not always required if the move is from Medicare Advantage to Medicare Advantage, but you still have to submit an NOA, you still have to get an authorization. And are you even contracted? Does the patient have out-of-network benefits if you're not? It's a lot of work, and it happens at the first week of every month. And it's not necessarily on everyone's radar it should be top of the list, priority, at the beginning of every month. And I totally know and understand that it's a challenge because everyone in that home health agency has patient care responsibilities. Even if you're not a clinician, you have internal responsibilities every day. It's really difficult to stop everything you're doing to run your office and focus on running all of those eligibilities. And if you have 50 patients, it's a challenge. If you have 500 patients, you can imagine it takes a team of people to do that. You may not be engaged with us to do your eligibilities. We can certainly help build a process internally, talk about what the timeframes are, what needs to be done, the best method of running eligibilities and verifying. I mean, there's just so many improvements that can be made. There's some automation. So we want to be a resource, whether the client uses us for that piece or not, to make sure that they're getting paid. And if you don't know who your payer is and you're not meeting all of their guidelines, then you're providing free care, and most agencies just cannot afford to do that.